If you're looking to get into the world of film photography, I have good news for you. If you frequent places like Goodwill or thrift shops and keep an eye on Craigslist, eBay, Letgo, and OfferUp, you'll be sure to come across some cheapo film cameras. Those will definitely serve your needs and maybe even more. But the problem with buying old and most times very used film cameras is the potential for spending your hard-earned cash on a dud, on a camera that doesn't work. I was recently having a conversation about this very topic on my Discord, which you can totally join, link in the description below, and my homie Sander, who goes by Alexander around here, suggested that I make a video about this. So I did. Here are 5 things I've been burned on in the past when buying film cameras. These are the key things you should be on the lookout for when buying an old film camera. And if you keep these little nuggets in your head along with some of your own research, you'll do great out there in the used film camera market. But before we jump into those things to look out for, something to keep in mind when you're shopping around something like Craigslist or eBay or something is sometimes cameras will come as a set. For example, this Canon AE1, I paid $50 for it and it came with the 50mm f1.8, and it came with a 28mm, and it also came with an 80-205, and this flash. I can't get it on. There we go. So even though this AE1 wasn't in perfect condition at all, the set was still worth it for the lenses alone. In fact, this AE1 makes a really amazing noise when you fire the shutter. But a little oil will fix that, and frankly, even if the camera didn't work, I can probably turn around and sell it and the lenses for more than I paid, even if you are just selling the camera for parts. And one last thing to keep in mind before I give you these tips, I'm not going to mention the super obvious things like the back door to the camera doesn't close at all. You know, like my Nikon One Touch. So yeah, here are the tips. To me, one of the most important things to examine pretty thoroughly is the shutter. I say this because if you're going to spend $50 to $100 on a camera with a shutter that's messed up, you might want to pass on the camera. The first Canon AE1 I picked up had a busted shutter, and after taking it to 3 different mom and pop photo shops, the consensus was either they couldn't do it, or it would cost 3 times what I paid for the camera. In order to make sure that the shutter is in decent shape, you want to check a few things. These are quick things to check, so if you're in a Goodwill or meeting with some sketchball on Craigslist, you won't seem like a complete asshole. First off, fire a shot, pull the shutter advance lever, provided it has one of course, and in this moment you're looking for any sort of weirdness, anything out of the ordinary. This should be a fluid process. Fire the shot, crank it back. So if the shutter advance feels sticky or sluggish, there may be something wrong in there. The most apparent issue you'll see is the shutter advance doesn't complete its actuation. Either it gets stuck midway through, or it won't budge at all. To me, if I see any of that, it's a no deal. After you do that, you should pop the back of the camera open and make sure that when you pull the shutter advance lever, the spool for the film is moving as well. And while the back is open, you can take a quick look at the shutter curtain. It should be moving about, doing its thing, it should be intact. If you're seeing holes or anything like that, that's another pass. And finally, if you have the time and you aren't feeling like an awkward turtle at this point, test some random shutter speeds to see if the camera is vaguely accurate. I've read that the slower shutter speeds tend to go first, so if you set your shutter speed to 1 or 2 seconds, you can easily see if the shutter speed is responding in the way it should be. Or maybe it's become a bit sluggish over the years. You can do this easily with any sort of timer. Even a watch with a second hand will do the trick. The next thing we want to look at is the back of the camera. We're again going to flip open the rear cover and make sure that the light seals are intact. This is a huge one. I've gotten 2 or 3 Goodwill cameras with problems in this department. If you're totally new to this, light seals are the squishy, beautiful, foamy crap right here. They ensure that once your film is loaded and the door is closed, no light will get in there to bother your film. So if these foamy, squishy beauties aren't intact, if they're flaking off, or if they've hardened, or for some reason someone peeled them off and they're just gone, to me that's not a no buy, that's not a pass, but it is a, hey, the light seals are messed up, so can you take $10 off the price since I have to fix that? Because you can very easily buy replacement light seals. Look at this $6 package on eBay, you just stick them on. Or if you're really thrifty, I guess you can just gaff tape it closed and remove it every time you take the film out. Either way, pretty easy fix, but something to keep an eye on. In this next step, we're going to whip out our flashlights, or our torch lights as you cool Europeans say. I've always liked torch better than flash. Anyway, remove the lens and shine that sucker in because we're looking for the dreaded Fungus Among Us! Fungus can grow within the glass elements. This can happen from poor storage or zombie outbreaks a la The Last of Us, and I gotta tell ya, I can't be bothered to learn how to disassemble a lens and clean that shit out. If I see fungus, it's probably gonna be a pass, mainly because it can haze up your photos. Some hipsters might like the whole, oh, it's imperfections and it's beautiful, but personally, I enjoy seeing through the lens unobstructed. Another really important thing to check out is the battery compartment. Now, not every camera has these, some of them are full mechanical, but if you have a battery door, make sure you open it and take a look inside there. I don't have to tell you why, you already know. Remember your old Game Boy Color? You put it away when you got the Advance, and then you found it years later, and you wanted to play Pokemon Blue version, but then you realized, oh my god, I left the AA batteries in. Wow, Radio Shack isn't even a company anymore, and now it has all this weird white crusty shit all over it. Well, this one in particular doesn't have it because I already cleaned it, but that's battery corrosion, and it can happen to cameras too. It's best to store them without the batteries in to prevent this issue from occurring, but once it's started, there's no real guarantee of the camera's internal integrity. The corrosion could affect other parts of the camera too beyond the battery area. But in my personal experience with electronics in general, I've never had battery corrosion completely destroy a unit on me. Case in point right here. I cleaned up my Game Boy Color. It had all that white crap in the battery area, and after a thorough cleaning, it works like a charm. Big shout out to my friend Retro Matt, who fixes all these old games and helped me out with it. If you're wondering how to clean up battery corrosion yourself, all you have to do is use a little bit of white vinegar. So this one is on your best judgment. If it looks like the North Pole in there, maybe pass on it, but if you think it's manageable and you can clean it, and you're willing to clean it, go nuts. The last thing I'm going to bring up is the Viewfinder. Now, because it's glass, you might find some more fungus growing in there, or just random debris within. That's how my friends and I say debris, because it's spelled all stupid. But stuff clouding up the Viewfinder can range from minor annoyance to, I can't see anything. And again, this is up to your discretion. I've bought cameras with dirty viewfinders and have been absolutely fine with them. I draw the line when it gets to be crazy. For example, this poor Pentax here. The viewfinder, it turned all blue. After reading a bunch of posts from arguing camera nerds online, I've determined that it's either due to an issue with the prism in the camera, or due to overexposure and improper storage. The world may never know. It doesn't affect the photos, but it does make it difficult to see and, more importantly, to focus. So unfortunately, this Pentax is just for show now. Well, those are my tips from my personal experience in the wonderful world of old-ass used cameras. Here's to wishing you the best of luck in your search. I hope you find the dopest cameras ever in your Goodwill or wherever you go. Let me know if you have any things that you look for when buying film cameras in the comments below. I'd love to hear your experiences with it, and I'd love to learn a few new tricks myself. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Smash that subscribe, hit the like, do something to those buttons down there. I make videos every week. And yeah, I gotta do a special thank you for 1,000 very soon in the next couple of weeks. So all right, have a good week. I love you. Now you might find, but the problem with buying old and most, I've learned from the hard, and if you keep these little nuggets, and if you, well, cameras with messed up light seals, cameras with fuck. Fungus among us!